And tonight's headlines. Chief Executive John Lee assures public and tourists there are other attractions in the city, even if the weather forces the cancellation of the fireworks show on Labor Day. Health officials warn of an extended flu season with more outbreaks and serious cases. And the Gaza conflict could see a pause in hostilities after Israel offers a generous truce to Hamas.
As the Labor Day Golden Week holiday approaches, the weather could determine if the pyrotechnic show scheduled for tomorrow night will go ahead as planned. Chief Executive John Lee assured that there is a wide range of activities that will proceed regardless of weather conditions and promised to offer visitors a good experience.
Of course, we want to do the best to ensure that it will be most welcome and enjoyed by everybody, tourists and Hong Kong people. We will do our best, but of course, weather is always unpredictable. We will inform the public about the decision we make as soon as possible, as circumstances permit. But there are a wide range of activities that have been arranged to welcome visitors during the Golden Week. And a lot of them will proceed regardless of weather condition. Of course, we will do our best so that we will ensure that visitors will have a good experience.
Speaking at a weekly meeting, Lee said the government is fully geared up for the 5-day mainland holiday in multiple areas. Special transportation arrangements will be made for cross-boundary travel, and supply of public transport in some areas will be increased by 40% to ensure a smooth flow. Service of the last train to Law Wu will also be extended on some days, and the command center will be in operation for 24 hours to ensure a smooth and orderly travel experience for visitors. Lee also stressed that he would urge Beijing to allow residents from more mainland cities to visit Hong Kong by further expanding the solo traveler scheme, which he said will boost the economy and the tourism sector. Janice Yu, Cable News.
The winter flu season in the city has already lasted for 16 weeks, but health authorities expect it to stretch further, with more than 500 adults suffering serious complications or dying since the beginning of the year. Most are aged 65 and above. The death of a 4-year-old girl at Pamela Youth Nethasol Eastern Hospital yesterday has further aggravated the situation. Her death comes just 2 weeks after 2 other girls, aged 8 and 6, died after being infected with flu. Chang Shuk-Kwan from the Center for Health Protection pointed out that the dominant virus strains have changed. Influenza A subtype H3 has switched to H1 early this year. Cases of COVID-19 as well as other respiratory infections remained high. The hospital authority revealed that the bed occupancy rate at children's wards reached 110%, saying that relatively older children would be transferred to adult wards in a bid to free up space. It urged parents to get their children inoculated against flu as soon as possible.
Chief Executive John Lee reaffirmed that the implementation of the municipal waste charging scheme will go ahead as planned, and the decision to halt production for designated bags is only temporary. Details of the scheme will be informed to the public once a decision is made, based on feedback from the trial run.
To me, a policy that affects each and every one citizen of our almost 7.5 million population is a serious matter that needs to be examined, so that while we want to ensure that environment is well protected, we also want to proceed steadily so that people will be able to change their behavior in a steady manner. In regard to plastic bags, and of course, the Environmental and Ecology Bureau has indicated the stock is quite enough for its present use. So they have made arrangement to deal with that matter. But we will, as soon as possible, review the overall implementation details in the drill, and also examine the views and opinion expressed by the people involved, and come to a decision. When we come to that stage, we will inform the public ASAP.
That was good news for employees receiving minimum wage, as they could expect a pay rise more frequently. Since the implementation of the statutory minimum wage in 2011, when it stood at $28 an hour, with the subsequent increments over the years, the basic wage has gone up by just $12, taking it to the current rate of $40 after an increase of about 6.7% 2 years ago. But the Executive Council gave the green light today to review the pay annually. In a bid to better safeguard workers by ensuring that their income is in line with the economic situation, the Council has agreed with the Minimum Wage Commission to introduce a mechanism in coming up with the pay level. This means that the group would consider inflation and economic growth when calculating the rate, and there would not be a reduction. The minimum wage level calculated based on the mechanism will be implemented on May 1st, 2026.
We have to protect the interests and benefits of workers, and we have to also ensure that the statutory minimum wage set will not lead to a loss of certain job opportunities. We will have to ensure economic growth, because it is only with economic growth that we can offer job opportunities to people.
Taking to the airwaves this morning, Jenny Tam, Vice Chairwoman of the Federation of Hong Kong and Kowloon Labour Unions, said the mechanism is significant. She noted that the number of people receiving minimum wage rate over the past years have fallen at least tenfold to 10,000, saying a more frequent review could address workers' expectations. Wen Kolo, who chairs the Chinese Manufacturers Association of Hong Kong, pointed out that the move would affect micro-enterprises the most, as most of their workers are paid minimum wage. The mechanism would create a ripple effect on employees earning more than the minimum level, he added. Janice Low, Cable News.
A 35-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter after a tower crane collapsed and killed 3 workers 2 years ago. Kan Ho Fai was the project manager for the principal contractor, Aggressive Construction Company, when the accident occurred at a worksite on Anderson Road in Sao Mau Ping. The 65-ton tower crane came crashing down on containers, which were used as temporary offices, killing 3 workers and injuring 6 others in September 2022. Investigations revealed that the crane was not in use when it collapsed, but some joints on the massive structure were not welded properly and were found falling apart. Kan is currently remanded in custody, and police are on the lookout for a 72-year-old outsourced registered structural engineer who is also wanted in the case. In addition to the arrest, the Labor Department and the Buildings Department has pressed 9 charges on 4 subsidiary companies. Aggressive Construction Company was denied license renewal and is banned from bidding for public projects until the end of the year. Janice Yu, Cable News.
The chances of a much-needed truce in the Israel-Hamas conflict rose after Israel offered a sustained 40-day ceasefire and the potential release of thousands of Palestinian prisoners in return for Israeli hostages held captive by Hamas. A Hamas delegation returned to Qatar from Egypt after talks with their Israeli counterparts and are keen to respond as quickly as possible, according to sources. The latest proposal could see 20 to 33 hostages released over several weeks in exchange for a pause in the Israeli offensive and the release of Palestinian prisoners. And if hostilities cease further, the remaining hostages, captive Israeli soldiers, and the bodies of hostages could be exchanged for more Palestinian prisoners. After months of deadlock, agreement from both sides would be a major step towards ending the war. The war has brought Gaza to the brink of famine while reducing much of the territory to rubble. At a meeting of the World Economic Forum in the Saudi capital Riyadh, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the proposal by Israel was extraordinarily generous and Hamas should make the right decision quickly. But a failure to agree could intensify Israel's response in Gaza, with a likely ground invasion into the southern Gaza city of Rafah, where more than 1 million Palestinians are sheltering. Israel's allies, including the United States, have warned against the operation due to the potential for large-scale civilian casualties. Sachin Kadvi, Cable News.
Factory activity on the mainland showed signs of growth for a second consecutive month. Even though the pace was slower than March, the official Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index stood at 50.4 this month to slightly surpass market forecast. The non-manufacturing index, which is driven by the services and construction sector, stood at 51.2% compared to 53 in March. There was accelerated growth in the transport and logistics sector. Outlook in the services industry remained upbeat.